Welcome to the NFL, Justin Fields.
Yikes.
Andre Smith, illegal hit, helmet to helmet. Helmet goes flying. Fields was okay, stayed in the game. He said after the game that it didn't really hurt. It just kind of cut his eye when the helmet went off. But look at that, Chris. That is a hit, and it is an illegal hit.
I know, it is. It's an illegal hit. He got a piece of his head. He's got to go lower. But, yes, welcome to the NFL. I mean, seriously. But the way Justin Fields just reacts and handles everything, I think that's the most impressive thing about him so far. Just pops up, doesn't show, any emotion. Just give me my helmet. Let's go back to work. I mean, been very impressed with everything about Justin Fields to this point.
I mentioned that Fields said after the game it didn't really hurt. Don't take my word for it, though, as if you ever would. Here's Justin Fields talking about that hit and some other stuff after the Bears' blowout loss to the Bills on Saturday.
I mean, it didn't really hurt, to be honest with you. I think the one thing that hurt was my helmet coming off and hitting me in the eye, but the actual hit, it wasn't that crazy.
The comment you made about the game being slow, it's your second preseason game.
Yeah, and let me tighten that up because that came out totally wrong. Y'all just well, not y'all, but apparently the narrative was that I'm just that good that the game was too slow. But what I meant to say was I go up against our first-team defense a lot throughout the week. So me going against them and, playing these preseason games when starters aren't in, that's going to slow the game down for me. So, again, I just wanted to clear that up because I don't want to come off as cocky or acting like I already made it because I know I have a lot of work to do and get better at. But, the game's not, fast out there. I mean, of course it's going to be football, but I go up against one of the best defenses, in the NFL, weekly. So that's definitely going to help me when I'm going against, the twos and threes out there.
I'll say this. When he made the comment last week about the game being kind of slow, he did follow up by explaining that he faces a great defense in practice all the time. We pointed that out at PFT. I think you and I talked about it last week. We are not among those guilty of warping what he had to say, but the lesson for Justin Fields is very simple. You can't drop the soundbite that is going to get everyone's attention and expect everyone to pay attention to the less interesting stuff that comes after it. You got to be very, very careful because people will take, whether they do it intentionally or whether they do it accidentally, they're going to love that soundbite, and it's going to become the social media image, and the quote's going to be there. And I think that's how I first saw it. And I went and looked at what he said. It's like, well, he didn't really say only that. But that's what happens because that's all that fits on the graphic, and that's what's going to attract people's attention. So you got to be very careful not to create a soundbite like that when it does require an explanation after the fact because the explanation gets lost.
Yeah, well, good for him for explaining. I mean, man, he's been as impressive, in front of the microphone as he's been on the football field to this point. So, I mean, I give him a lot of credit. I mean, whether it's that comment right there and just clarifying it, doing all that, what he said about.
He was starting to get upset, though. You could see he was starting to, and he held himself back. He's like, you guys were, it wasn't you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm good. He's got to realize that because I do, don't take it personal. You're right. It's some of these social media companies, and like you said, it only fits on the graphic. Andy Dalton became got in trouble for that last week too. There was not the full context of his quote. It's my time. He said like 9 other things before it and after it. I mean, come on. But, yeah, that's what we're stuck in. He handled it well, and he's really been, really good on the football field, off the field. And even what he said about Andy Dalton, about the Bears fans booing him this weekend. Like, perfect. Like, that's what a real man should do, a real leader should do. I give him a lot of respect for that.
Don't take Chris's word for it. Here's Justin Fields talking about how he reacted to hearing the fans cheering for him when Andy Dalton was in the game.
Yeah, I noticed it. Of course, the fans are awesome getting me out there, but they also have to realize, Andy's a human being too. Andy's out there on the field right now. So I really just think it's kind of disrespectful to Andy, them cheering my name out like that. And, they have to, trust in coach to, make sure he's making the right decisions and, just cheer Andy on. Like that's not helping Andy play better than cheering my name. That's not doing none of that. So, I would say, my advice to them would be just cheer for who's out there playing on the field.
I'm going to take what you may think is a hard right turn here, but when I saw those quotes, the first thing I thought of was Tebow Mania. Remember when all that was going down in Denver? Billboards were up. Everybody wants Tebow. He never said a single word along the lines of what Justin Fields said.
Right.
Support the guys who are on the field. It's not about me. It's about the guy who's on the field. He never said one word. He just let it all go. And, well, I'm not doing it. I didn't say anything. No, everyone else is saying it for you, Tim.
No, I mean, we've discussed this. That I was on that Broncos team the year before. I know that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way in that Broncos locker room about Tim Tebow and the fact that he never made those comments or tried to, help Kyle Orton out. He let the conversation fester all in his favor and let it continue to boil up. A lot of respect for Justin Fields right there. That's the kind of leadership that's going to get the locker room, even the quarterback you're competing against, his wife, everybody to be like, man, this guy's good. Like, I like this kid. He can lead us wherever he wants to go. He's shown special qualities like that to this point. And I get it. Listen, not that I'm Justin Fields or anything like that, but I went through something similar at the University of Texas where they'd boo me or boo Major Applewhite, and I used to want to be like, you fair-weathered Texas fans, get the hell out of here. Are you a Texas fan or a person fan? What the hell are you? Get the hell out of here. I always thought that was disrespectful to both of us, so I get where he's coming from there too.
Of course, the unintended consequence of Justin Fields saying what he said is it makes him more endearing to Bears fans and makes them more intent on wanting him to play.
No doubt.
So, there is potentially some next-level evil genius going on here, but I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Trust me, I'm just kidding. But it will make people want to see him play.
Yeah.
Matt Nagy, the coach of the Bears, made it clear after an underwhelming performance by Andy Dalton, the Bears got blown off the field by Mitchell Trubisky and the Bills.
Blown off.
Justin Fields had a nice throw, nice run, survived that helmet-to-helmet hit. Nagy said after the game, Andy Dalton is the Week 1 starter, period. Not just the guy at the top of the depth chart for now. He will start Week 1. We need to see him in the regular season. This meshes with everything I've heard all along, Chris. He was promised the job. They're not going to go back on that promise. Dalton will start. The question is, how long will it last? And it's going to depend upon what he does against the Rams, against the Bengals, and however long he lasts on the field as the team's quarterback.
Yeah, I know. That seems to be the continued theme. My only thing is, why? Why? Like, I promised. Did you give him a promise ring too? Like, you have a promise ring? Like, here you go. You can start Week 1. Like, get the hell out of here. This is the NFL, okay? I have a lot of respect for Andy Dalton. I know he's done some really good things. This is the only play that happened that was positive while he was in there. An all-out blitz, jump ball, good catch by Adams, touchdown. Okay? that was really, it was a great throw. I'm not trying to take anything away from it or anything like that. But like, my big thing is, first off, we know what Andy Dalton is. We know what the Matt Nagy offense and the Bears are, and it's not that good, okay? It's just not. And you could talk coaches, defensive coordinators, whoever around football. No one's going to sit there and tell you, like, Matt Nagy's offense is, like, breaking the creative meter in offensive football. No, it's not. To me, like, Justin Fields is the number one schematical advantage the Chicago Bears have on their offense. They don't have a great offensive line. Justin Fields can help it with his moving his pocket, the threat of him running, the quarterback design runs. That'll help them out. So from that aspect, and he's going to make the pass game, which is very ordinary for an Andy Dalton drop-back type quarterback, to where he's going to make it more complex because of the things he can do. Like, Shanahan and the 49ers have some flexibility. They have a really good team, and they have Shanahan, who no one would argue is one of the best offensive minds in football over the last 10 years. Nobody's saying that about Matt Nagy. The Bears are not as talented as the 49ers, nor do they have a Jimmy Garoppolo. And Fields continues to show that was a nice throw. Variety in throws, the athleticism here. Again, this is a game plan play, but these are game plan plays that are going to work extra good with Justin Fields because of his ability to do boots and runs and do things like that. So nice
catch too.
Great
hell of a catch too.
He misses this throw here, and again, this is what he's going to have to work on. I'm not sold he's going to dissect you in the pocket with his passing yet. You know, we haven't seen him against quality defense or the starters or anything like that. But nonetheless, the throwing's good enough, and he's good enough in the pocket to where I go, man, start the era now. Like, yeah, that's less than. It's not going to be perfect. But okay, he's going to bring other things to the table that the other quarterback doesn't have. And I don't know, Mike. This one I feel like I'm totally adamant about. Start Justin Fields, get it going. He's your only chance if you really want to win this year. For me, they need Justin Fields on the field.
Week 1, it will not be Justin Fields unless we see a Fields package. It will be Andy Dalton. By the way, I know it's been a few minutes, but I can't let this go. Perfect product placement. We've already heard from the folks at Kay Jewelers. A promise takes place in the heart. A promise ring makes the commitment unforgettable. For every promise you make to your true love, a BFF, your faith, or yourself, the perfect promise ring makes it official. There we are. That was all gratuitous, but maybe then the official sponsor of
maybe
BFT
we'll get
Live,
some,
the
yeah.
Kay Jewelers promise ring. All right.
I don't know, Mike. I don't know if you feel the same way I feel. I know they promised Andy Dalton and all of that. I get it. But I just think it's inevitable. And to me, a little bit like the I promise you're going to play and start, all right? And this is not – and maybe I'm wrong. But to me, I do wonder if the Bears are playing the politics of this right now. No, you don't think so? No?
Yes, no. I'm touching my nose.
You know, Andy Dalton, we're going to start him. And, oh, yeah, we were 0-3 or 0-4. But, look, when Justin Fields came in, he played well. And, look, the future's bright. Keep us one more year. Keep us another year as your coach. You know, instead of like, oh, well, yeah, you could start Justin Fields and it might not go well. And then it doesn't look good on you. And I don't know what happens. But I don't know. I get a little feel that there's more politics here than like, let's just try to go win games right away off the bat week 1.
And this isn't just Matt Nagy. This is the general manager, Ryan Pace. And I think at some level it potentially is the team president, Ted Phillips, who's been in the job more than 20 years. And when you look at the history of head coaching hires and GM hires, whether it is Mark Trestman at one point as the head coach, whether it was that GM guy, Phil Emery.
Yeah.
I mean, over the skis types of judgment, all due respect to Trestman and Emery, exercised by Ted Phillips. It could be that they're all in the same boat. And this is, don't judge us based on Justin Fields' performance this year. Judge us based on his performance next year. This year is the prologue to next year. So whether it's Andy Dalton goes wire to wire, like the Chiefs did with Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes in 2017 when Nagy was the offensive coordinator. Mahomes started a meaningless Week 17 game against the Broncos. But whether it's Dalton keeps the job or whether it's Fields saves the bacon after the cause is lost, I think that – and look, I don't think you – now, it is the Bears, and they have made some bad decisions when it comes to these types of situations. I don't think you authorize giving up next year's first-round pick, Chris, if you're going to run Matt Nagy out the door after 1 year.
I wouldn't
with
think
Justin
so.
Fields. Because there's no guarantee you're going to get a coach who wants Justin Fields, and then it's a matter of time before Fields is gone and you go find somebody else.
Maybe he needs that vote of confidence from the front office and people go, hey, if you start Justin Fields and it doesn't go great, you know, we're not going to hold it against you. We know he's a rookie or, you know, maybe that's what he needs. You know, maybe, you know, I know Matt Nagy's a good guy. People like him and everything like that. Maybe it is just, you know, the fact that he promised Andy Dalton and he's too loyal and he's just not going to go back on his word. I understand that. You know, it's a fine line. It is. I know, like you said last week, you know, when you get a reputation for kind of being a liar as a coach and you make a promise like that, yeah, guys in the locker room.
You get a job as the analyst at Monday Night Football for 9 years.
Well, guys are going to look at the corner of your eyes. But at the same time, if one guy is just showing out and showing unbelievable ability and the guy you promised hasn't looked that great or nothing's been special to this point or anything like that, you're also going to get the side eye because guys in the locker room are going to go, are we really trying to win week 1 or what are we doing? Because that guy seems to be the best one and we're not playing him. Why is that? So it's a tough situation Matt Nagy's in. And again, this is one where I don't blink with this one. I would go with Justin Fields right away. I know they got to play the Rams, and that's not going to be easy. But I look at it and go, they got no chance of beating the Rams with Andy Dalton at quarterback. You got Justin Fields. Maybe you can take that approach like you brought up with Shanahan. All of a sudden, we got a bunch of quarterback design runs and things you didn't prepare for. You don't know what it's going to look like. And now we catch you off guard, and all of a sudden maybe we upset the Los Angeles Rams. To me, I don't know. I know I'm dumb and crazy at times, but I'm just, with these young quarterbacks, just go. It's go time. Let's go. And I really feel that way about, Fields in Chicago.
2012, Pete Carroll makes Russell Wilson the Week 1 starter instead of Matt Flynn, a guy to whom they gave $10 million fully guaranteed at signing, which was a lot back then. The comment was, how brave of Pete Carroll to go against the grain. No. The brave thing to do would have been to start Matt Flynn, because there would have been a revolt if he had started Matt Flynn, because everybody in the building knew that Russell Wilson was better. Right. So that's going to be the challenge. If they being the other guys who are going to be on that 53-man roster, if they believe that Fields is the better option and Nagy's going with Dalton because of some promise that was made. No, veteran players want to win. They want the guy on the field who gives them the best chance to win. So only they know what their assessment is from inside the building. Yep. Outside the building in Chicago, it's over. It's unanimous. Right. Everybody wants Justin Fields.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.